Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I'm Zandra, not to be confused with my guest, Sandra. We'll get into that a little bit, but um, if you are a part of the Launchpad Collective, you know that we've got an emphasis on building out structure, providing resources for new and aspiring entrepreneurs. But if you're here publicly, that's a little bit about what our community is about, and we're sharing some of these resources free of cost to the public. So you get a little idea too of what the community looks like. Um, for the session today, there's one question in particular, one theme that really is related to what many entrepreneurs care about, which is sales, right? Like that's ultimately where people are thinking, I need more sales, I need more sales. But what if the focus is on the wrong thing? What if we're not doing the work towards more sales? What if we're building a better designed business? Because a lot of times people think, oh, it's just more effort, more hours, more marketing, whatever.
Mm.
But sometimes it's not about how hard you're working, but the intention with which you're working. And that's a little bit what we're going to do today. That's Sandra's background. She can share a little bit more about herself and kind of what that really means. And so before we kind of jump into the meat of the session, Sandra, do you want to share a little bit about yourself, about your background, so people get to know you a little bit better?
Sure, Sandra. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm super happy to talk about a topic that is particularly interesting for me, business model. So a little bit about me. I'm a chemical engineer by training, master degree in chemical engineering. I'm from Colombia, and I had a career in innovation and new product development and new business design in big corporations back in Latin America in the food industry and in the beauty industry. I moved to the States 7 years ago, and since then I've been doing some consulting, working with nonprofit. My main interest is help small businesses and entrepreneurs to grow. So that's why the business model concept is so fundamental for me. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
me in a nutshell.
yeah. And I will share just for anyone listening too is, and this is something that I use as I'm considering subject matter experts is seeing how much their face lights up whenever they're talking about whatever subject it is, right? And that is something that I noticed with Sun that is like immediate energy and just so much to share, so much wealth of experience and knowledge. So I'm really excited for this session.
Yeah, thank you.
So as we jump into things, and it was part of how we even introduced this session, right? Is that many times as business owners, even employees, right, we
Mhm.
correlate our level of effort to our level of success.
Yep.
And that's not always a direct correlation, especially for entrepreneurs. And it can often seem like other people are growing rapidly, and that there's like some magic bullet that they have that we don't have. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. On, is it just putting in more hours, more
Mm.
effort?
No, I don't think so. That's a topic that I've been kind of obsessed for many years because I've heard so many times that you need to work harder. And I don't know if it's that the Latino background that you need this effort and do more and always trying to leave it everything in the field. Do more and more and more. And that if you do more, that ensures that you will get the results. And during my career, I start listening about you need to work smarter. You need to work smarter. And I said, okay, but what that means?
Hmm.
Give me a how to. I'm an engineer, so I need a how to. What that means, that
Hmm.
smarter way.
Hmm.
And I realized that one of those smarter ways to work is to really understand how all the pieces of a business work together. Because sometimes we put too much effort in just one part that maybe is where we have an special interest or where we find that we're really good at. We're really good at marketing. So we put more effort in marketing, marketing, marketing. Or we are
Mm.
really good, and that's the most common topic. We need more sales. So the effort is in pushing, pushing, pushing for more sales. And at the end, the smarter way I realized that is to understand how all the pieces, even if at a high level, work together for your business. And that's the business model. And what are the levers
Hmm.
that if you push here, it helps you to increase here.
Mm.
So that's
Very,
the magic.
very engineer-like of you.
Very engineer, but it's a very simple concept that we will talk about this
Well, no, I
later.
think that's
But
a very good segue because that could be intimidating for some people, right? Like business model. That's
what is
I
that?
didn't get my degree in business, let's say. What does that mean? Because is it something that I have to have learned like many years in school and build it like, but you said simple, so I'm hopeful. Like, would it
It's
what?
simple. That's what I love about the concept. The concept of a business model was introduced maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago by Alexander Osterwalder. And it's so simple that people sometimes say that I already did this. It's just a framework. There's 9
Mm.
components and I wrote some things there. And that's it's done. But the beauty of the business model, and specifically the business model canvas, is the simplicity to provide a high level understanding of those pieces. And then in the end, the easy and most basic definition of a business model is how a company or entrepreneurship or a small business creates, deliver, and capture value. And
Okay.
what's value? Value is money. Value is the preference that your customers prefers you. Value is that you have how to cover the cost of your operation.
Value for everybody.
Value, tangible value, emotional value, social value. But it's a simple way to say, okay, what's the value that my business creates?
Mm.
How I capture the value that I deliver to my customers. That's my revenue. And how I actually deliver my product, my service, my value proposition to my customers. How I put that beautiful product, a beautiful service that I'm passionate about, how I put that in my customer hands. And
Mm.
that's what is a business model about.
Okay. Okay. So then let me ask you this, right? So I'm asking for myself, I'm also asking for the people that are
Absolutely.
listening is w- what is the difference or the correlation or the relationship between a business plan and a business
Hmm,
model? Is it the same?
that's it's not the same. It's
Okay.
not the same. It's the business model is an overview. The business model is intended to help you to design, to test hypotheses. The business model help you to integrate different aspects of the business in a very, very high level to understand the ground, your map, a very high level how your business works. A business plan, that's why we usually need to create when we need to apply for a loan, for
Mhm.
example. But a business plan is a long document that assumes that you already know how your business work, that you already know who's your customer, how they prefer to buy, what's your product, how you are going to charge, how you're going to what's your price, how are you run your operation. So
Uh,
it's high level versus day-to-day operation. So that also means that you can use both documents or both tools at the same time for different reasons, but also at different stage of your business. When you are starting, you don't know what you don't know. You kind of have a sense of who could be your customer and how are you're going to deliver your product or
okay.
your services. You have an idea, so you just test and trying to put all the pieces together. Later, when you actually gather more information, you can start building a business plan. But it's two different moments. And
Okay.
I always start with a business plan because it's easy to write a I don't know, 30 pages document
Hmm.
that is not true. It's just fiction.
Because okay. Because this is what I think or what I want to have
Yeah,
happen. In a perfect world, this is what I want to have
yeah,
happen.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ah,
And you just said that it happens a lot with for example, with the financial projections. Of course, in Spanish, we say that the paper or a sheet supports whatever you want to write there. It doesn't
yes.
matter. But in reality, and at the end, a business plan without the strategy, without the business model previous overview, could be just a wish list of how I
Mm,
imagine that things will go.
okay.
But at the end, it's not true.
But it so as I'm hearing you too, it's not what's driving the action. It's just like this is what I want to have happen, but it's not necessarily driving the action, the plan, right? Because it's just a wish list. So you have to put
For
something in action
for
to
both, for
okay, for
business
both.
plan and
Okay,
for
okay,
business model.
okay.
Maybe the difference is you don't spend too much time building or designing a business model because you know, and the framework doesn't ask for too much information, and the framework allows you to just put your hypothesis, your assumptions.
Mm,
And when you put, I think, or I would love that my customer is this type of customers. And I believe that I'm going to create a subscription model. That's the source of revenue.
mhm.
And my value proposition is I'm creating an online services for fitness classes
Okay.
at that level. Why? Because these specific customer segments need something on the go to stay fitness at that level. And then the other side, okay, but what actually do I need to make this product or this service a reality? I need to create a website. I need to create a partnership with a
The
gym,
levers.
the levels at a very, very, very high level. And you take some distance and see if all the pieces, and when I said the pieces, is actually 9 segments that the business
Okay.
model canvas ask for,
Okay.
if that makes sense. If that makes sense for my customer, for my value proposition, for my source of revenue, for the things that I need to do at high level.
So like a sanity check of,
Sanity
okay,
check.
I want this, but do the other
For
pieces allow for it? Okay.
yes, I'm saying that I want to reach, I don't know, 10,000 customers in the next 6 months.
Uh-huh.
How I'm going to do that? I cannot put just some ideas. Okay, I need a way to deliver this value proposition to these customers. Marketing. I'm going to create a marketing campaign through Facebook. The business model in the operational side said, okay, do you have the resources to do that? Do you have the money to invest in those marketing campaign? So if you decide or wish to do something for your customer with your value proposition, the business model canvas help you to ensure that you have the key resources, the key partners, and you are performing the key activities to actually be able to do
Ah,
that, but
okay.
at a very high level. You don't need to spend weeks or months writing a long document with a tremendous
Okay.
amounts of detail of I'm going to do this. That's later. First,
Okay.
you see the picture, the
Okay.
whole picture. So
Okay.
that's why it's so beautiful.
I'm feeling a little bit personally attacked because I don't have a business model. I have a business plan that lives somewhere on a drive
What
that I
are your business
created
plan? Ah,
and hasn't really changed. I haven't really revisited. But that would be the opportunity, right? Is
yeah.
not only revisiting the plan, but then having the model to be able to take action or do a little bit more experimenting. And that really resonates with me too, because I think it is very helpful as an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur to
Mhm.
look at situations more like experiments, more like hypothesis, because you might think, oh, these people are definitely going to want this, and they don't.
You know, that's one of the beauties of the business model versus the traditional approach of the business plan. A business plan presumes and assumes that it's not trial and error. This is what it is. And this is funny because you said, have my business plan is somewhere. And
Collecting dust, virtual dust.
I'm sure that you spend a lot of time and you give a lot of thinking, and at the end this is beautiful and it's
And I put it away.
somewhere, somewhere, but it's not in the day to day. So the business model is just a framework. It's a framework, 9 segments that you can revisit and say, this is still true. This is still my customer. This is still the value proposition. And when I say the value proposition is the products and the services that I'm offering, this is still valid for those customers.
Mm,
This is the right way. Still, this is the right way on how I'm getting my revenue, or I can change something because it's something change. And I always do this because I'm thinking in the 9 segments of the business model. If something in your customer segments change, you need to review everything, but review it at a high level to see if that still makes sense. You
mhm,
don't go through the entire business plan to the every single page, every single strategy, marketing strategy, operational aspect that you wrote in your business plan,
mhm,
but at high level, does it still make sense? And also, all these pieces, all the 9 pieces of a business model, when put together, make sense again to help me deliver value. That deliver is to deliver my product and my service and capture value. That means that I'm getting sales and revenue from all that work at high level. So that's why it's so important. And it's
yeah.
something that I have one here in my in my wall, and I look at it. What's changed? What I need to revisit at a high level. And if
Okay.
something changed, then I can go to update my business plan. But this is a tool that
Okay.
helps you think in a very general way if your business makes sense.
If it makes sense. And I think the other thing, as I'm hearing you kind of explain and put it in action, is innovation, right? That's what comes to mind for me is like, okay, we're putting in all this effort towards X product or X service. And it could be that that's the wrong path, or it could be that it just even needs like a minor tweak, right? Am I following you?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Because we sometimes think we need to change, we need to innovate, and innovation is usually focused on improving the product, improving the services. But when you have your business model and you have all your pieces there, it's easy to find ways for improvement the entire business model. Maybe I don't need to change the core of my product, the core of my service, but I can explore a new customer segment. What if, I don't know, I designed this specific product for a customer segment that are working moms. But what if I can offer a part of that service to nannies? I'm saying
Yeah.
whatever. I'm right now I'm charging for this service in a one-to-one base. But what if I create a subscription model without changing the product or with the small tweaks? So that opens a lot of
Yeah.
opportunities. How I now I'm using only Facebook and or TikTok, but what if I explore a different channel to create relationship with my customer or
It's
to
like a what if
deliver my value?
tool.
It's a
A
what if
what I
tool.
like that. What if?
What
What if?
if? And what if I move or change or tweak a little bit one of the 9 segments of the business model? I need to look at the rest of the business model to ensure that the pieces still make sense. So in a very, very, very easy way, very quickly, you can take a look and say, huh, I can try this. It's not that you need to change everything overnight for your business, but I can try this. And what that means if I want to create this subscription model, what that means for my costs, what that means in terms of the new activities or the new resources that I need to create. And maybe I need to make a new partnership with someone. So it's at that level.
What I really like about it too is that just even you've said some things multiple times, right? Like at a high level, only nine. What if? And it just feels a lot lighter,
Yeah,
right? Thinking as a business owner, it's not like, oh, what am I going to do? How is this going to work? It's like, oh, let's just play around with this a little bit. And it feels a lot lighter. That's what I really
it
like about
is.
it.
It is. And as a matter of fact, it works. The business model design works in partnership with the lean startup mentality, with this mindset of I can try this, set a small experiment, and an experiment is to talk with 5 potential customers. That's an experiment. You don't need to create something big to learn and see what happens. It's a cycle of continuous learning, of trial and error. So that's why the business model is intentionally light. Because if you spend 3 months, 4 months creating a beautiful business plan, you don't want to change it again. I don't want to change it.
Again, feeling personally attacked.
With love, with all my
With
love.
love, with love, with love. Okay. So this is really helpful, and this is exactly what I have envisioned for a long time with the Launchpad Collective is to be able to provide the expertise of people like yourself, right? Right now, it's open to the public, but we're inviting experts such as yourself to be members of the community, so you can be able to collaborate and share your expertise with the folks on there, but if someone wanted to work with you specifically, right? Like this is one of your areas of
Mhm.
expertise. If you want to share after, like we can put in all of your
Okay.
website and email, whatever you want to share. But what are ways that you work with business owners or entrepreneurs or organizations? How do you help with the business model? Because I, and I relate this to some of the work that I do is like, yes, it is very simple, but it's also profound. And there's a
Yeah.
science behind it,
Yeah.
right? So like, don't try this at home yet. Maybe,
You
maybe
can
get,
try it at home, but it's better if you have a partner
yeah.
to continue the conversation. As a matter of fact, if anybody goes to Google and search for business model canvas, there is tons of information that is free. And you can download the framework, the 9 components, and say, huh, but what? Now what? That's the beauty of working. I, I don't like to call me a coach. I'm see myself as a business advisor in business model
Okay.
design. So I work with small businesses and with entrepreneurs that already have an idea in progress, that have some sense of who their customer is and is starting, or at our small business that need to want to review their business model, not because they are, I need to review my business model. No, I know that nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying
I
that.
was just thinking.
I'm just thinking that I should review my business model. No, but I need to find ways to grow. I need to understand if how I'm conducting a high level my business makes sense. So I'm not going to, probably not in one session, I'm not going to tell you this is the marketing strategy that you need to follow.
Hmm.
No, but this is the high level overview, all the pieces that you have in place now. Let's see if that makes sense. Let's see if that makes sense. And from there, there is so many things that we can work. We can work, and it's kind of a, I always start with a check-in of the different segments of the business model. And from there, we can create a plan. We need, or we can work on strength your value proposition. We can work on, okay, how can we better understand our customers? And what are those key activities that we need to perform? And at high level logic of your financials. We are not going to be working on a P&L or projections from zero, but
Hmm.
in a high level, what's your source of revenue and what are your major source of costs?
Okay, okay.
High level.
And what would you say then, so because we'll have a a variety of individuals either that are watching this live or recorded now or later or in the collective community. Um, what types of either organizations or questions or issues, right? Like so you could say, if there's someone right now listening that is facing this challenge or has, this particular question, they should reach out to me. What are like some key factors of people like that would benefit from reaching out to you? That makes sense.
For me, maybe the most common question that I say is we are not growing. And that goes to your initial frame of this conversation. We are not having enough sales. Like after one time after another is we need to sell more. We need more sale, we need more revenue. And usually businesses focus just on the marketing effort, on the sales effort, but maybe the challenge to get more sales is that your value proposition is not differentiated enough. That is
Okay.
not delivered. enough value, that in awful words, that nobody cares about what you are offering.
Mhm.
Or that you have a beautiful product services, but you are not targeting the right customer. Or maybe that you have a beautiful product, a beautiful services, but your source of revenue, how you are charging, is not the right way. So, and at the end, it's a grow challenge. We are not growing, or we need to find new ways to grow. And
Mm.
how create this differentiation? How can we um, position position our business better? That goes also to understand the competitors, and yeah, but at the
Yeah.
end is
Growth,
grow.
growth. Okay. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for I'm glad I asked it that way and you answered that way because I think that's the key too. And the other thing, the other little nugget I got from there is it takes a little bit of the emotion out of it, right? You said you have a beautiful product or you have a beautiful service, and oftentimes as humans, we get emotionally attached to whatever that beautiful thing is,
It's inevitable.
right? But then
Yes.
when we have more data, even if it's super high level, is like, that's awesome, but nobody's buying it. So
Yeah.
what needs to change? What lever do we need to pull?
Yeah. And I've been there, and I am still there, because it's inevitable. A product, a service that you created, your baby, and you spend time designing something. And usually for entrepreneurs and for small businesses, it starts from a personal need many times. So then when you just left, or you just live with your idea of this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, you miss opportunities. So part of the things that I do, and I help business owners and entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs, is a conduct a small self-assessment that we can share it later here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If we have a vision clear, it's not specifically inside the business model canvas, but what's your vision for your business? If you feel confident to turn how, and you know how to turn challenges into an opportunities. If you understand your source of revenue and your costs. And again, this is not that I'm going to ask for your financial statements, your profits and loss statement. No, it's again, that's the beauty, high level. I understand where the money comes from, where I'm spending the money. If you know how to clearly communicate your value proposition. What is our value proposition? That's part of the business model.
Yeah.
Why
That's a bigger
someone who
problem.
cares? Why someone who cares about what you're offering? What they should care. What
Yeah.
anybody should care.
Yeah, yeah. Well, awesome. So definitely we'll include a link to the assessment, a link to whatever channels, but just for purposes here, like what would, is it an email, a website that you would want to share? Like let's just, I'm thinking through too, just for recording,
Absolutely.
people viewing the recording, what's a good way to contact you?
In my website, sandraperezbotero.com, there you find all my services, my contact. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm super active on LinkedIn, Sandra Perez Botero. I've used my two last names.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the
awesome,
way to
awesome.
contact me.
And soon to be in the Launchpad Collective as well
Absolutely.
would be another way. But yes, thank you. That was
Yes.
a very great informative session. And the thing that I like even the most is like I really enjoy simplicity. I think sometimes we overcomplicate so many things where it is pretty basic.
Yep.
And basic doesn't mean that there's no value. It just
Yeah.
might mean that there's like additional layers
Yeah.
that we need to dig in a little deeper, right? You just get an indicator and like, oh, we need to do a little bit more digging here. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Thank
Yeah.
you
And
so much.
no, no, my pleasure. And as I said, people can go Google Business Model Canvas, and you'll find a lot of information that is free. And the framework is there for free. The difference is to have the partner to ask the questions. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's me. I'm a strategic partner.
yeah, yeah. No, I love that. Thank you so much, Sandra. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. All
Thank
right,
you.
take care.
Thank you
Bye.
for having